I do not wish to shoot up the school. And at this point, I'm raising my voice. I had the whole world against me, and not a single person was taking my word. If I went to my local news station and I told them about this story, it would have went global for sure. Like, this was huge. So in high school, this whole event happened to me in my grade 11 year. I didn't have a whole lot of friends. I was just the person people knew, but I was kind of the shadow of everything. I was always very kept to myself, and the lack of friends and just the mistreatment, the lots of the bullying that came with it as well. I became a little bit depressed. Not even gonna deny it was bad, and a lot of people knew it too. And I'd always make really dark jokes, everything between just jokes, really dark. So pretty much I became this personality of this edgy kid who's got no friends and nobody likes him and he gets bullied a lot. And so that was me in a whole nutshell. Usually I'd get pushed around a lot in hallways and not just being pushed on the shoulder. Some people would just intentionally push me around. It was actually kind of it just made me feel worse as a person and just destroyed my morale as my day went. And so I started pushing back and then kind of getting people's faces what are you gonna do about it, kind of a thing. I'm just try me. I just have nothing to care anymore. I have nothing to really lose at this point. I have no job, no friends. All I have is the people back home. We had a server that all the students could save their files on, so you don't want everyone to have to carry around a USB and have the chance of losing it and losing all your school data. You could just pretty much access all your files, save it to your save drive, and access it from any computer in school. And at this time, I started saving a lot of these memes I'd find on Reddit while I should probably be doing classwork. Just terrible jokes. I think I had a good couple hundred. And I didn't realize at the time that the school actually checked these save drives for malicious content or anything in general. And that's important to the story. Midway through the course, I had stopped kind of taking people's crap and starting to stand up for myself. This one student, they started really egging me on in class and just pushing me to my limits. And eventually I said, that's it. I'm done. And I just slammed my laptop closed and I ran out the room, and that was that. And it was my 5th period at that time, so I just grabbed my bags from my locker and I went home. Come next day, I get to school. I agree at the doors by the principal, and I was like, oh, okay, so I guess it's just about me, leaving class early, and she wants to know where I went. He escorted me into the office, sat me down, and asked about yesterday, but what happened. And I said, oh yeah, I left the room, and that was that. He's like, nothing was said? No, I didn't say anything as I was leaving the room. They were generally concerned if I had said something of a serious manner as I left the room. At this point, I was so confused. I was sitting in this chair, this nice, really comfy leather chair, holding my bags, my longboard, and he was so serious. A few minutes later, head of the food chain guidance counselor comes in, and he was wanting to talk about what happened. And at this point, I'm still confused, and I was like, class is starting. Why am I not going to class? And he was wanting so insistent about what did I say as I left the room. And I'm just jogging back my memory, and I was like, no, I didn't say anything. And he was like, well, a student had reported as I left the room, they heard me mumble under my breath saying I was going to bring a gun to school and I was going to shoot people. I sat there in the chair and I was just so taken out of it. I'm like, what? I couldn't believe that. I highly had doubt I had ever said that. As many of the jokes I made in high school and all the memes I would show about those kind of terrible incidents how school shootings are, I would have never in the circumstances said that because I knew how serious it was. And he was like, "You are absolutely sure?" And I'm like, "Yep, absolutely 100% sure I had not had said that." And he was taken by a breath and turned his laptop around. And he wanted to talk about what was saved on my school drive. And at this moment, I really knew I f***ed up, like to the extreme. I had two folders. It was memes and spicy memes, as the folders went. He opens up the quote unquote spicy memes folder, opens up the first image. The first image is literally standing in the kitchen and talking about first step of cooking is turning on the gas. And he's like, "Do you think this is school appropriate?" No, this is not school appropriate. And he goes to the next photo, and it's a photo of the planes crashing, and it was just terrible meme in general. And he was just like, "From where I'm sitting, it seems like you have a high interest in these jokes and think they're taken lightly. And so it makes us to believe that you had said this, and we were wanting to investigate this." And of course, investigating is a good thing, but the actions they took weren't great. He was like questioning, like, "Are you a religious extremist?" I'm like, no, I'm not a religious extremist. I don't follow his actions. I don't wish to follow his actions. I don't follow any of these people as an icon, and I do not wish to shoot up the school. And at this point, I'm raising my voice because I'm so felt like I was in a dream. Like, I just didn't feel like this is happening. There's no way this is literally happening to me. In comes my parents, and they're like, "Hey, we're here to take you home." And my mom is in tears. She's like so just destroyed. And my dad is, the look of disappointment in him is immeasurable. And just seeing my mom in that way, it always breaks my heart. It's just because I'm such a mama's boy, you can say. I've always loved my mom. All right. Like, she was the best. And it broke my heart so much to see her this way. And it wasn't even my fault. But now they were talking about like expellment at this point until they could figure out what was going on. And so I went home, and I was pretty much on house arrest at this point. I wasn't allowed to leave the house. I wasn't allowed to go anywhere, so I just went upstairs to my room and I just sat on my phone. There was still no word about it, and every time my mom came to my room, she was just in tears. Like, the whole weekend, she was just destroyed. And she came to me and she was like, "You've told me always everything about you, what's going on, and I've always told you how I feel about things, and now one-on-one, did you say it? Did you say it?" And under my breath, at this moment, for a second, I was thinking to myself, did I actually say it? Because there was a moment of like, I had the whole world against me, and not a single person was taking my word, and no one was believing me. Like, the whole, like, the feeling of when no one believes you in a moment like this, it's just, you can't describe it. It's just because your whole life at this very moment could very much change. Like, something joking like that is, you can be criminally charged and you can go to jail for making a statement like that. Sunday evening, my mom comes to my room. I hear her coming up the stairs, and she sits down, and she comes right by my feet, and she was in tears, like way worse than all weekend. And I was like, "Oh, great. Like, what now?" And she was like, she had gotten a call from the school division saying that the student in question had come forth and actually lied about it and said they had said it. And the other students thought I had said it. because the student and I had very similar voices. He had a very also deep voice, and there wasn't many people in our school who had a voice like mine where it was very distinguished. And she was like, yeah, like he had come forth and he's going to apologize to you, and the teacher is going to apologize to you as well, because everything up to this point, everybody was fully pretty much admitting to it that I had said it, and now they were all wrong. And she's like, I'm sorry for not believing you. She was trying to tell me how terribly sorry she was, and I'm like, Mom, like, it's fine, like, I'm okay, I'm fine. And not this in the entire weekend, like, I never broke down emotionally and started crying about this, because I knew what I said, and only up until that one moment where she had came down and talked to me in one-on-one, I only started second guessing it. Monday come, I was allowed back into school, and like the whole school was kept a secret from this that was going on, which was probably a good thing, because the whole school probably would panic and scream because I was such an edgy kid. I went to the office first thing. I dropped out of the class. The principal apologized to me. The vice principal apologized to me, and the whole thing was kept quiet. Like after that, they pretty much that situation, they shoved it under the rug, and then they put in the floor safe, threw the safe key, burned the house down, and nobody knew. And at this point now, the school couldn't touch me. If I went to my local news station and I told them about this story, it would have went global for sure. Like, this was huge. And I could have, like, if some people, like, I looked into, I could have sued the school for slander for what they did. What really surprised us, and the only reason why we knew that whole situation became so hush-hush, is because my mom was really good friends with some of the faculty, and she talked to them about it afterwards, and not a single word of that whole situation they ever heard about, and they were so surprised. Like, this was, one of the bigger events that ever happened to our school. To them, was completely unknown. They had no clue what happened. And so they were the only people, I guess, that knew about it until that point was my family, me, the teacher, and the students in that classroom. And I guess the students in that classroom were all ordered a hush, and they were told never to speak a word of it. It was incredibly stressful, just of knowing my entire life was hanging in the balance. And if he had never came forth about it, I could have been criminally charged. I could have went to jail on, the conspiracy to commit genocide or mass murder. I was this kid who showed up to school every morning, didn't care what I looked like. I always head down, and I fit the stereotype of a school shooter. That's the past. I'm trying to live in the future. So, but that's my story.
If there's any questions you have for the speaker, you can find a link to his Instagram down in the description below. If you want to help support the channel, then please consider subscribing. It only takes 1 second and it really does help a lot. And if you enjoyed this video, then maybe leave a like and a comment. If you'd like to be a part of my community, you should join the Discord and follow me on Twitter. Links are down in the description below.